Biggest chunk of money is rent. So this is my apartment.
When it comes to the economy, the stakes are high for our generation. Will we be better off than our parents?
No, f that. Will we even make next month's rent? The outlook seems grim if you look at the numbers, even for those of us you'd think would be okay.
There are about 1.2 million unemployed college grads in America. Not to mention the average graduate owes $20,000 in student loans.
3/4 of American households carry debt. How did this happen? We go to school thinking we'd be able to get a decent paying job.
But when we get out in the workforce, there just aren't enough jobs to go around.
And then there's our savings.
What savings?
Right. 40% of American families annually spend more than they earn, which means we're living way beyond our means.
23% of Americans admit to having maxed out a credit card.
In tonight's Vanguard episode, we're going to meet 7 people from different parts of America who are living all over the economic map.
From those who, with support from their families, are doing all right, for now, to people with college degrees who are just barely getting by, to those who are teetering at the extreme end of being maxed out.
I do think about money a lot. It causes me a lot of stress.
I think about money pretty much constantly.
I don't think about money very often.
I think about it every single day.
Now that I'm working full-time, I've been making $20,000. It's definitely less than I feel like I need, and so I do get a little nervous. You can't be sure that the money's going to be there. I would say the biggest chunk of money is rent. So this is my apartment. I have a roommate that I share it with. We each pay $375 a month for rent, and then about another $125 a month in bills like gas, electric, cable, internet.
We each have approximately $100,000 worth of student loan debt. I think the belief is that if you go to law school, you're going to get out there and the firms are going to swoop down upon you and you're going to have these wonderful jobs and you'll be making a minimum of $60,000, $80,000 a year. It's not true.
I spend nothing on rent and utilities. College was paid for by mommy and daddy, 100%, not a drop of debt. Right after graduation, I moved down to Miami, just couldn't find a job, and then I moved back home.
I'd probably spend the most amount of money on the normal things like rent and utilities and the internet, but also some smaller luxuries like golf.
My parents pay for the tuition to actually go to school, and they pay for my living expenses to live in the fraternity. And that is about $5,500 a semester for the live-in, and then tuition itself at USC is like $25,000 a semester, something like that. They pay for everything. I have no money. But I don't really buy anything else. I guess except for, like, I'd say drugs. My parents pay for that too, I guess, but they don't know that as much, so don't show them that. No, you can, they can find out this way. If there's any way for them to find out, I'm sorry, Mom and Dad.
I stayed with my mom and my stepdad up until I was 19, and then I moved on my own. My parents are not here. My mom's always in the Philippines. My stepdad doesn't really contribute to anything, so I have to work to support myself. When I moved out, I was seriously poor. I had like $0 in my bank account. I was poor. And my sister let me stay at her house for free for a couple months. We're gonna go to my room right now. Well, it's not really a room, it's just an extra room that they had. That's where I sleep, on a futon. This is my awesome bed. This is mainly the computer room, their computer room.
My parents pretty much believe that you need to go figure it out for yourselves. They're happy to give me advice and to help and to tell me that I really should have gone to law school instead.
What are you looking for?
Like for a container to hold my gumballs.
What kind of container? Get down.
We have 3 kids, Emma who's 12, Daniel who's 9, and Avery who's 3. Right now they're all 3 going to school. We have them in a private school right now that we get help with.
College Marin is a JC junior college. I do hope to transfer in a 4-year university, maybe San Francisco State. I'm only going part-time because I have to have time to go to work so I can have money to support myself.
Coming up right here is the Annenberg School for Communications at SC. Usually I'm actually running through this to try to get to class on time. I love being here. I love being at school. I love being on the campus. It's just like a really good experience.
The biggest expense, one of the biggest expenses we have is travel.
Out of pocket immediately for us a month is about $800 in gas.
That's covered by my parents. Lease on my car is covered by my parents, as is insurance, parking at the train station.
My parents pay for the insurance and for the gasoline. It's a 94 Honda Accord. I don't like to brag though, so. And then while I'm on campus, I have a bike.
So this is my car, great 92 Toyota Corolla. Got 200,000 miles on it, and it's in pretty good working order. You know, there's some definite dings on it and some engine trouble that needs to be fixed. This dang thing, it's been like that for a couple months now, and didn't really have the money to fix it up. Obviously, I don't care too much about flash in a car, but hey, that's okay. You know, it's well worn, and it's got character. It's got a lot of character.
Credit is gone. Credit score is gone. We cannot get any credit cards.
How many times have we been in our favorite store and thought to ourselves, I don't have the cash to pay for that right now, so I'll just buy it on credit. If you can relate, you're not alone.
And because we're a generation of spenders, not savers, those of us with at least one card have an average of $9,200 in credit debt.
Credit is pretty easy to get these days.
Yeah, college students have an average of 3 cards by the time they graduate.
And when the average interest rate on credit cards is almost 19%, it's no surprise we end up owing so much.
Tonight we're looking at young Americans around the country, from California to the Midwest to the streets of Manhattan, to see how they're spending or not spending in this economy.
Daryl brings in right around $3,400. My income on the low side was about $1,700. On the high side, it's gone all the way up to $5,000.
When I get paid at the beginning of the month, she goes online and she starts paying all of our bills, and that pretty much takes my check. And so now we are literally gambling on the fact that she will make enough money to carry us through the end of the month.
And since I'm self-employed, I've had months I could have waited tables and made more money, which is really depressing when you've got a law degree.
Working in theater is tricky because you're just not going to make much. Like when you figure it, I'm making like 7 something an hour. I've definitely considered the idea of getting a part-time job, and I've been looking into things. It's actually a conversation that I've started to have with my boss that I need a larger salary, or we need to rethink how my position works with the company so that I can go and make some extra money.
So this is a stack of most of the crap that I get in terms of all the credit card statements and credit card bills and whatnot. Oh, loan payment. I guess I should pay attention to that one.
Credit is gone. Credit score is gone. We cannot get any credit cards. The thing is that if I don't make my car payment, they can take my car. If I don't pay my rent, they can take my house. If I don't pay my credit card, you know, what more can they do to me? The credit is already shot. We have some friends of Daryl's, actually. They have this nice suburban home, and they've got this huge widescreen TV, and my daughter is convinced that they're rich. I have to explain to her that no, they're not rich, they have credit.
The expenses that I have are really just luxury items. When I buy things that I don't necessarily need, like more clothes, I have definitely over 30 pairs of sneakers. They go all the way down. I do not spend a lot of money on sneakers. I actually wear them, they're in crappy condition. So I won't spend over like 200 bucks on a pair of sneakers. The TV, I bought that, it was only $1,000. I bought myself a pair of Tom Ford sunglasses. They were 400 bucks. I bought a beautiful cashmere cardigan, just under $400. So yeah, that's the $400 famous cardigan. It's really soft, it's one-ply cashmere, which is the beauty. So you could wear it on a chilly summer night. Like when I go to the Hamptons, I would definitely bring this thing. I probably go out once a weekend. It's usually pretty pricey, at least $100 to $200. I don't have many expenses, so I could afford to buy these nice things.
I try to live as thrifty as possible. If I go to any clubs in like Hollywood, I do this thing where I pretend like I've never had alcohol before. And I go to someone, what are you drinking? And they'll go, you know, this is a rum and Coke. I'll go, oh my God, what does that taste like? They'll be like, here, have a sip. And then I'll try to get drunk off that.
I kind of laugh when I look around my apartment because almost all of my stuff here isn't actually mine. It came from one of my family members. Here's my kitchen, complete with, of course, like the pans that my parents got as their wedding gift in like 1960 something. You can tell because everything they got for their wedding is olive green and gold.
I can't go out and buy clothes. I can't. Okay, like this, I actually wore yesterday. I can wear this kind of thing to court. I mean, the top was 10. I didn't pay for actually either the top or the skirt. My mother did.
This is my suit, and I wear this one quite a bit. And it's actually a little embarrassing, to be honest, but you can see the rips there, and there's a rip there, a rip there. These pants are actually ruined now. There's a tear in the back, so I can't even wear these anymore. I don't have it in here, but my suit jackets, the little buttons are falling off. One of them, the sleeve lining was coming out, so I don't even know if you knew, but I take the lining, I stick it in, and I staple it.
What? Daryl. Okay, that is something we could do something about if he would just inform his wife.
Me living at home, working in Manhattan, my commute blows. I usually get to work between like 8:50 and 9:15. I work for Capital IQ. It's a division of Standard & Poor's, and I'm a research associate. I would love to live in the financial district because this way I could walk to work. I won't have to buy a monthly Metro card, which would be sick. The rental market is so poor, and since I'm lucky enough to have a beautiful home to come back to in New Rochelle, even though the commute kills me, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity to just save a little bit more.
My sister and her boyfriend just got married and they want to start a family. So I'm planning to move on out on my own. My total expenses, it will probably total every month about $1,400, and for Best Buy, I make in a month probably like $1,500 to $1,600, so it's cutting it really close.
When I move into the city, I'm expecting to pay between $1,200 and $1,600 a month for rent alone. Do prices increase as we go higher?
Yes, they do.
This one seems more doable.
Yeah, I think that's
I mean, the other one's, because the other one we wouldn't have a living room.
Also, in terms of amenities, you're going to have the indoor as well as outdoor lounge area. Also, complimentary breakfast will be served to you in there daily.
Okay. So this is the first apartment that I looked at, the first few. I'm kind of discouraged and I'm kind of happy. The building was beautiful, but the apartment that I did want was over my budget. I'm definitely going to keep looking. But I think it was a good first step.
I don't know if I have a savings account. I don't even know what that means, really.
How much money do you have in your savings account right now? As a country, Americans' personal savings rate last year was -1%. Not since the Great Depression have we seen a number that low.
After we pay our monthly expenses, there's hardly any money left over. About 70% of college grads say they're living paycheck to paycheck.
And the economy isn't just affecting our bank accounts. It's affecting our mood, too. 48% of graduates who are paying off college debt say it's contributed to anxiety and sleeplessness, and 38% say it's contributed to depression.
We're about to see how some young Americans are attempting to put money away for their financial future, but it's not easy.
I don't really like the whole thought of living paycheck to paycheck. I make sure that I, at the least, save $50 each paycheck.
I don't know if I have a savings account. I don't even know what that means, really.
There is no savings.
We talk about saving, but with all the bills and you know, student debts and everything, it's really almost an impossibility.
There's $75 in our savings account right now. I don't think I've ever managed to get it higher than $150 before I had to pull it out and use it for something.
Yeah.
I started tracking my expenses pretty carefully. So I separate it. So I've got like car stuff, clothes, going out to eat, and miscellaneous just stuff. It's been really helpful. I've realized some things that I can definitely cut back on. I was getting crazy highlights, and so they were 124, and I was like, that's insane. But I justified it by saying that I had really, really ridiculously cool hair, and so I didn't buy more clothes. I thought that seemed reasonable, right?
I've smoked for almost 7 years now, and when I really was strict about looking at my bank statements, you see how many times you buy cigarettes, and you go, wow, that's a lot of money. Wow, I spent $50 in the course of 2 weeks. That's $50 I didn't need to spend. I think having that visual really helps.
My sister, her husband, little by little teach me how to not spend so much on shoes, not to always go out and eat, just probably get some groceries, cook at home, you'll save more money.
This is where we eat with the fraternity. We have a chef, his name's Esteban, really cool guy, and there's, 3 meals a day, so when I wake up, if I ever wake up for breakfast, there is breakfast, and then, good lunch, good dinner. It's pretty good.
I don't bring lunch to work. It's a terrible reason, but my rationale is I don't want to carry anything else. So I always go out to lunch, and lunch is also covered by Mommy and Daddy. I try to eat dinner in New Rochelle's as much as I can.
These buildings in the financial district, you see 20 Exchange Place?
Yeah, it's new. That was in this article that I read.
Right. We have a lot of concern that Kyle and my daughter will have a tough time replicating the standards that they're used to. It's much tougher to surpass your parents, I think, than it was for us, my generation anyway.
I wound up in finance as a default. It really just boiled down to the amount of money you can make after college.
After high school, I did get accepted to Art Institute of San Francisco. I really wanted to major in fashion merchandising. It would have cost me about $85,000 for 3 years. My mother wouldn't let me go. She wouldn't support it. Okay, so this is the shirt that I wear. On the side it says Best Buy Mobile. This is where I work, Best Buy in San Rafael. I'm here 40 hours a week, every week. And even on my days off, like today, I'm here yet again.
I love this because there's no stairway that goes up to her. You can only access it by this random elevator. It's like you're going to NORAD or something. This is the Kinsey Institute, the leading sex research institution in the world. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a great opportunity to work here on podcasts and doing all these sorts of interviews and things like that. That wasn't what I went to school for. I actually studied, politics and policy. I was recently offered, 2 different jobs. One in the field of policy analysis that I've kind of been trained to do, and another job doing media writing and journalism. And, the latter pays a lot less, but I decided to go with the one that might be less stable or less well-paying. A lot of people told me, and when I was making that decision was, you know what, if you're going to make a dumb decision and take a chance, you might as well do it when you're young.
I think that our generation puts a lot more emphasis on your job being fun and it being something that you really enjoy and being really fulfilling, and don't put as much emphasis as maybe earlier generations on having a stable job and something that's going to support your family.
I'm not too worried about the ability for me to pay off long-term debt. But at the same time, it is a little daunting to sit there and see $30,000 on paper and go, wow, I have to pay that back.
I'm really nervous. Like right now, yeah, I'm happy. I'm only 20. I'm like working at Best Buy full-time. But what I'm scared of is at the age of like 26, I'm still there as a sales floor consultant. I'm just scared that I'll just be content with what I have right now.
I got the peaches because they were 5 pounds for $5. I don't tend to get stuff out of season. The other thing that I do that I probably shouldn't is I buy the bagged salads. I want to get something else, but that's actually more expensive without the dressing in it. I've always got all kinds of pasta and stuff. Pasta's like really cheap. It doesn't help my diet, but it's really cheap. Whether or not I can buy groceries today is whether or not the check I deposited Friday has cleared by today. I mean, I was taught as a child that if I went and got enough education, it was going to make it okay. I'm sorry.
I think right now in my life, I feel like I've achieved what I consider like the American dream in a sense. I don't regret, I guess, getting my degree because I felt like I got the education that I thought I needed to get in the world. But you know, now I'm starting to think we were just fine when I was a kid. I probably would have been done better off if I'd just never gone to school, and because you know you're still struggling to get by.
I'm going to be a different person when I move into the city. I hope. Because if I'm not, I am going to go bankrupt. I'm not sure how much my parents are going to help me when I move in. It's going to be impossible for me to sustain my lifestyle right now. There'll be no more $400 sunglasses or sweaters.
I'm never really afraid that I'm going to run out of money because I don't spend that much. You know, I'm lucky to have a mom who's really on top of things. I would assume that she would call me before the account would run out of money. I try never to check the account because it makes me kind of sad if I look at it for too long because I realize that I really don't have much money and I don't have a job, and it makes me kind of nervous about the future. In fact, this whole interview is making me a little bit nervous about the future.
See more Vanguard Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on Current or online at current.com/Vanguard.